Like a lot of businesses, Napier Port has been on a journey over many years from more of a influence and view of safety as something that we have to do from a compliance perspective to something that's really ingrained in the business now. The buy-in and support around the whole safety premise at Napier Port really does start from the top. It comes from the board, massive support from our directors and our chairperson, big involvement from them in the operation as well, getting to know the people, getting to know the business, getting out there and actually meeting and seeing what's going on. And that support translates into things like how we have to make decisions about what we invest in, getting those ideas from the people on the floor doing the job, doing the mahi every day. Those are the people that are actually going to be able to tell us how to do things safely, but also how to do things more efficiently and effectively.
Hi, I'm Andrew Morton, Health and Safety Manager at Napier Port. Port industry is extremely high risk. Many sort of dynamic different work aspects going on. You'll notice everything around you is big. Just the smallest incidents can turn out to have major consequences. So the safety roadmap was about making some integral improvements across the port in the way that we focus on safety and concentrate on the way that we work. We used to take an all hazards and all risks approach, trying to manage every single thing. Just based on the environment that we have and the dynamic nature of the work, we've really sort of had to hone our concentrations on key aspects, and that includes things like critical risk. Critical risk for us, we started off with a risk portfolio of 8 common risks in 2018. Obviously the project has exploded immensely and we're now sitting at 26 common critical risks that we focused our attention on at the port. So what we're looking to do is build a really sort of robust process around learning, training and competency, and it's massively important to us working in this really high risk facility.
Well, yeah, they've put a lot of money into the simulator itself. There's a lot of money to buy, and it's worked out good for everybody. We developed this because we wanted a better way of training people rather than being on the gear itself, which is dangerous for mistakes, and it's a lot less stressful for the trainer.
Well, what we have here is a mission simulator for simulating ships in and out of Napier Port. The idea is that we can train on vessels in different scenarios that we couldn't normally do in the real life.
So bow tie assessment essentially is a risk methodology or a risk assessment tool that we use just to manage and establish risk. So what it does is we actually centre all of our attentions in the first stage just on what the hazard is. Then we look at the threats and we look at the consequences on both sides of the risk assessment. That actually applies to the work environment and the work activities that we're undertaking. So from a threats perspective, what can harm you, what can hurt you. From a consequences perspective, consequences can include things like the health and well-being of the worker or the victim of the accident, whether it be a serious harm incident or a death. But it can also have impacts on the business as a whole. So, we look at things like, business continuity. We look at things like reputational damage and other aspects as well. We've done all this assessment work over the course of the last 2 or a bit years. We're now starting to see some real investment coming into the way that we're mitigating control. So this was a greenfield site which we've developed into a container terminal over the last 2 to 3 years. And essentially we've literally uplifted all of our learnings from the port facility where we housed a lot of these facilities, and we've been able to transfer a lot of really good sort of safety initiative and risk reduction controls into this purpose-built site.
The biggest one for me that stands out is the communication between the Port of Napier and Specialised Container Services. The information is readily available, the communication is free-flowing, and it's a two-way conversation. It's not a do it. It's about having been invited to the table, so I should say, and having those conversations about what we think collectively is the best way to achieve an outcome.
Yes, obviously you can see a really congested environment, lots of traffic moving around, trucks and versus rail. In 2018 we installed a new barrier management system, so railway crossing with traffic lights, just to mitigate some of the risks around machine versus machine, and obviously it's paid off around reduction of near-miss incidents in this area. Some of the risk controls that we're implementing are things like barrier systems like this one here, just protecting pedestrians versus machine. A number of other sort of risk controls have also been implemented around the place too, machine. We've done a lot with the mooring lines under tension type risks as well, with new dynamic mooring systems and Moormaster, which has gone in recently as well. So with the debarker, that was a new piece of equipment that we've installed in the last year. And essentially what we've done is we've just had a real focus on keeping our people separate from the operation. So by putting in, purpose-built guarding which meets best practice standards, and just making sure that our people are safe. So, interlock systems, full fence guarding, isolation systems, which have also gone in. To ensure that we're getting effectiveness and just oversight on our risk controls, obviously the companies spend a lot of money, there's a lot of investment going into our assurance processes, and it's just really making sure that we have the right checks and balances in place. So with the assurance, we've recently put in some software just to sort of start to record some of our inspections and our audits across the port as well, and it's working really well. And what this taking is just a bit of joint sort of cooperation with our teams and things as we go too.
Well, the culture of care at Napier Port is really important for us. It's really the foundational element in our whole business. Our whole business strategy is founded on this culture of care. And that's really around valuing people and looking after our team, making sure that they've got everything they need to do their job well at Napier Port, do it safely, and to be the best that they can possibly be while they're here at work.
We've already had a really good culture in the port for the last 10 to 15 years, but I think by having the safety roadmap, this has enhanced things a lot more. Our people have a much wider and deeper understanding of risk management, of the consequences and around safety actions and which need to keep them safe. I think it's about making a difference, and it's ensuring that we are keeping our people safe. It's all about people at the end of the day.